I think this is going to be something that is going to be around the NFL storylines for a long, long time. I mean, you look at Jerry Jones, you look at Robert Kraft. These are guys that have been consistently in, the headlines. Jerry Jones recently, and obviously Jerry's the full owner. And you look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady is not the full owner. He obviously has only 10% of the Raiders, but it's a thing where, man, like it's gonna help change the Raiders a lot. I think Tom Brady's gonna have a lot of input on this team. So when you look at his broadcasting career, what he's gonna do, I don't think that it's gonna be, the main focal point. I really think he's going to focus on the Raiders side of things. I think that this can change the Raiders a lot because, quite frankly, right now their organization is a shit show. Their organization is a crapshoot. Their organization does not know what the hell that they want. And they moved to Las Vegas. They got the bright lights. They got the flashing lights. And then they went out and they tried to make the splash plays. They tried out Josh McDaniels. They tried out a Derek Carr. They tried out Jimmy Garoppolo. They're trying all these different things for the quarterback, and it just ain't working. So I think Tom Brady's input is going to be massively valued, and I think that he is going to be one of the faces of this new look Raiders team, and I truly believe that. And you go look at what the owner right now, Mark Davis, what he said. He said, Tom Brady's going to have influence, and I don't doubt that. So I'm seriously looking at Tom Brady, and I think I'm going to put him on the pedestal, and I'm going to say, hey, you're going to be responsible for the wins and losses and the success of the Raiders over the next 5 to 10 years. And I think the next 2 to 3 years are extremely pivotal. Malik, we discussed this on the other show about the head coaching for the Raiders. It is likely going to be Antonio Pierce, right? They are paying Josh McDaniels. They are paying John Gruden, and they're still going to be paying Antonio Pierce. So it's going to be a thing of, hey, every franchise, in my opinion, can turn around with good leadership, with good ownership, and getting a star quarterback. That's what I would be looking at. And I think when you look at what happens with a quarterback and you bring in a young guy that can be a superstar, I think that's the next step for this Raiders team. And I'd say I really do think Shedeur Sanders is lining up to be on the Las Vegas Raiders.
I feel like the writing is just there. Shedeur Sanders, future Raiders quarterback. It makes all the sense. Him having a huge say, like for me, why would Mark Davis say that? He's going to have a huge say, wink, wink, and who our future quarterback is.
Nature and all that, but it's just exciting. What I was going to say is we traded Devontae Adams for Tom Brady and a third-round pick today. And although Tom can't play, I think he can help us select a quarterback in the future and potentially train him as well.
Okay, so then you have the video from a week or two ago, Shedeur Sanders of Mark Davis talking to Shedeur Sanders, which was kind of weird. Like,
Deion met with the Raiders this offseason. Like, that's weird.
Bro, everybody called me crazy. I'm trying to tell y'all, Shedeur Sanders will be a Raider. Deion Sanders will be the Raiders head coach. I'm trying to tell y'all. Shedeur, that's going to happen. You think Deion's going to just let Shedeur go somewhere and not have a huge hand, and how that looks? Deion Sanders will be a Raider. Will be the Raiders head coach. And you know what? I think it puts asses in seats. I think it makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. And the relationship you already have there with Tom Brady, the relationship Shedeur already has there with Tom Brady, it makes too much sense. Like, it sucks for Antonio Pierce because here's a guy that thinks that he's getting a real shot to be a head coach in the National Football League. Nah, bro, you're just a placeholder, unfortunately. So they're going to find themselves probably playing how many coaches at this point? But I believe Deion Sanders is a shoo-in for the Raiders head coaching job if Shedeur goes there. 100%. There's no shot. There's no world in which Shedeur goes to the Raiders and Deion just sits back and says, you know what? I'm going to go back into TV. I'm just going to go back into That's not happening. That's not happening. He's going to follow it. People say, well, Deion said he has no interest in coaching in the NFL. It's a little bit different when your son is the quarterback, the franchise quarterback. It makes a lot of sense. And let me tell you right now, I don't know if that is good for him. I don't know if that's good for the Raiders organization, because I feel like that's a complete mumble jumble mess in a lot of ways. Because if you're tied to the Raiders organization, right, and then Deion's the head coach and things get out of whack, you got to move on from Deion. Well, how does Shedeur feel? If Shedeur sucks, how does that all feel? How does that all work? And for me, it's like, It feels like that's what's. I feel like that's what's gonna happen. Appreciate you, Natty Ron. Natty Ron tells me that's a good Shedeur. I mean, a good Deion Sanders impersonation. Yeah, man. I'm pretty good with these impersonations every now and again. But no, in all seriousness, though, I look at it and I say, you know what? Deion Sanders to the Raiders makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. And I don't know if that's a good thing for the Raiders.